Hey, so I guess I'll talk about something that's more closely related to race this time, and I guess where I wanted to start was with the blues. And so a little bit of backstory. I'm a huge, huge, huge blues fan. It's just my absolute favorite kind of music, has been for a really, really, really long time. And when it comes down to it, that emerged out of African American traditions and the late 19th century into the mid 20th century from what little research I've done. I wrote my undergrad thesis on classic rock, so I did a little bit of research on kind of the evolution of blues. When it comes down to it, that is in its origin an African American tradition that has since gone a whole bunch of different directions into rock and roll. And I mean, I'm not even going to go there. Um, but when it comes to me teaching music, you always want to be yourself. And absolutely one of my absolute favorite types of music, and I think it's a great thing for kids to know. It's culturally relevant, absolutely culturally relevant. Um, Today, there's still plenty of blues artists of many different races, but where I'm going with this is kind of turning it into a code switching conversation where I grew up in suburban Massachusetts, all private school. I had no exposure to people. I didn't interact with people who used the type of southern accent that you find in a lot of blues songs, a lot of blues singing. And people sing a different way, so I don't want to generalize that to sing the blues is to use that type of southern accent. Um, I don't even really want to call it a southern accent because that's being too general too. But I mean, just here's a good example. Here's a song by Eric Clapton, who's a white Englishman, and he sings it like this. This is where his voice goes. His talking voice is white English. He gets into this song and goes, I ain't gonna tell nobody what a Santa Fe done for me. I ain't gonna tell nobody what a Santa Fe done for me. If you wanna know, baby, sure have to come and see. I mean, even from that, you hear that I'm really doing some serious code switching there. I'm probably not even paying enough attention to it, which is probably where I'm even going with this is how much responsibility do I have to worry about that when I'm in a music classroom with children who are white or black or any other particular race. Do I have to worry about code switching? I mean, this isn't even just singing the blues. That's just kind of the most prominent way that I see this potentially becoming an issue. But I love using different accents in my class, almost just for fun. I mean, we had this success criteria thing for my district where we had to do today I will blank so that I can blank. I know I got it when blank. It's just before every class starts, you say something like that. Sometimes for the I know I got it when part, I just switch to a southern accent for fun. Sometimes I do a Sean Connery voice, and I'm realizing how little I think about the effect that probably has on some students. You hear me talking like I talk with my hard R's, and I guess I don't really have a Boston accent, but I got a New England thing going for sure. Um, you hear me talking like that, you get used to the code, the way that I normally talk and interact with my students, and then but it's music, so you're doing different things. I mean, but here's a key distinction: when we've done music from, we did a Kenyan piece for choir this year, and I'm just thinking mostly of African cultural songs that are in the repertoire and in the curriculum. Do I switch to whatever that type of accent would be? No, I don't even think about it. Um, so that's really where I'm starting off. Is that I think I need to pay more attention to my code switching. But for blues, which is something I plan on doing a whole lot, in my life, both teaching and just in terms of music. I mean, it just makes so much sense to me. Not And I guess I should probably stop here. My interpretation of the blues is not the hard life aspect of it. I haven't had a hard life, so I mean, it's not like I'm drawn to the blues because I have so much to lament, which is probably where it came from. But again, blues has gone so many different directions that I think the chord progression, the style of the music is really what speaks to me. But with singing, with the the blues, what am I trying to say here? With what comes from singing the blues is that you tend to want to sing with that code switching, that that other accent, whatever it is. And I don't know enough about different Southern accents to even tell what kind of Southern accent I use. But is that something I have to worry about in terms of children of different races in my classroom? Am I going to be affecting or offending children by code switching without even talking about it? Because that's generally what I did. I have all kinds of accents that I love to use with younger kids for fun, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. But I am realizing that I'm probably not as careful as I could be. And I guess I just brought it up with the blues because there is the historical connection of it being an African American tradition. It is not a huge thing in pop culture today. It's still culturally relevant, like I was talking about, but it's not something that I see a lot of students of color, or white students really even paying that much attention to in the first place. And so it's just a little bit of a confusing situation for me because you can't not sing the blues without. I wouldn't be singing the blues in my normal speaking voice. Just not how it's done, at least for me. And I don't know. It's a tricky one for me because it's something out of which I get a whole lot of pleasure, and that is I mean, if there's a particular kind of music that I really enjoy, that I should be sharing it with my students. That's part of my job. Is sharing the joy of music with my students and having my own personal association with it to back it up. This is why I love it. Let's see why you love it. And yeah, I guess that's probably enough. But just bringing it back to code switching, I mean, I'm realizing more and more that it's something that I do a lot. I can't sing a blues song without. I don't say ain't. I got some family from Texas, but I don't say ain't. I ain't going to tell nobody. I mean, that's not how I talk. But in terms of how you play the music, that's just what you do. And I don't think there's anything wrong or offensive about that, but I don't know because I don't have the perspective of being a student of color and having a white teacher code switch into a manner of speaking that is obviously not of their own culture and potentially part of yours. I don't have that perspective. Yeah, it's probably enough.